real big country, there are some real big animals with some big swagger. Big paws.
Strong enough to smash the skull on a mountain lion.
Big horns.
You wouldn't think that a brain could handle so much impact.
Wild egos swinging their hooves.
I am not okay with your behavior right now. I'm very vexed.
And bird brain bullies. Welcome to the United States of Attitude. Every day, everywhere, our planet is a battleground. Turf wars, food fights, and mating mayhem rage on as animals outwit and outmaneuver their own kind in Battle of the Alphas. Yellowstone National Park. Early December. It's a sound that cracks through the canyons. Why do bighorn sheep bash horns? 3 words: big, horny, rams. It's not always this rambunctious. Male and female bighorns spend most of their lives apart.
In separate groups, eating, sleeping, generally living their best lives.
Now the rut, or mating season, is around the corner. Except for these beasts, it's less of a season and more of a wild weekend.
The rut is when the females come in estrus, and they're generally only in estrus for about 2 days a year.
They have to be ready to strike when the iron is hot, so to speak.
And after that, that's it. The opportunity's gone. The window has closed.
Before they get down to business, the rams establish a rutting order.
So the males have a pre-rut, and the males sort out a huge hierarchy. And if you're big and experienced and mature with a huge big rack of horns, then you're going to be at the top of the hierarchy.
They're looking at each other. They're getting really close to each other, smelling each other,
Assessing each other, eyeing each other up.
sizing up the opposite player's horns.
And those hood ornaments are hefty, up to 30 pounds. That's as much weight as all the bones in the entire animal.
The larger the horns, the more muscled you are, the more experienced you are, and the more matings you're going to have.
Horns make the ram. The ones with the largest racks will dominate the herd.
Males are engaging in a lot of observatory work prior to any of the fighting actually starting. Really understanding who the main players are and how much of a threat each individual represents.
So when 2 rams are similar in size and enthusiasm, the aggression becomes full frontal.
Problems come when 2 big males that are probably 6, 7, 8 years of age with a full 360-degree set of horns. That's when horns will clash and brains will start to jar.
The rams will rear up on their hind legs and rush towards each other and clash those horns together.
We're talking about 3,400 newtons of force. That's about 60 times what it would need to break my skull.
They do this repeatedly, sometimes over a matter of hours, over and over, rearing up and coming together in these intense, quick clashes. You wouldn't think that a brain could handle so much impact. But it's important to note, it's not their heads that they're crashing together, it's their horns.
They're made of keratin, which is what you find in your fingernails. It's much more flexible so it can cope with that intense pressure.
It's not like 2 bricks hitting each other, it's like 2 springs hitting each other. And as those horns bump into each other, those springs get loaded, and then they unload in a way that saves the brain from having to absorb that energy.
It's not just the horns that absorb the shock. The ram's cranium is equipped with an airbag.
Now, a very clever trick ensures that lots of carbon dioxide is pumped into the brain, and that tricks the brain into retaining that blood. So it effectively creates a bubble wrap around the brain. It's another way of protecting that all-important organ.
But even the most vigorous headbanger knows when to call it quits.
So these rams smash into each other over and over and over again until one of them backs down. And then there's another battle where two of them hit over and over and over until one of them backs down. And this whole thing has to go until every single male knows exactly what their place is in the hierarchy. And the toughest, they can take out two males at the same time.
With heads still ringing, the rams get the rut on the road.
He's not just a fighter, he's also a lover. Because after he's done smashing heads with males, he's shows his affection towards the females. This is a gentle rubbing of the nose against her flank, lots of sniffing the air, lots of very dramatic Shakespearean overtures that he performs to get her attention. And if she's up for it, then things will go as planned.
Sometimes the rams who have not found a female have to make their own luck. They will attempt to herd the ewes into one area to create a mating opportunity on the off chance that one of them will succeed. Other rams will try another technique by taking some of the alpha's mojo.
The losers of the fights may also try and get close to the stronger males and use some of their scent glands and rub them up against their own bodies to potentially try and fool a female.
It's effectively taking on the aftershave of the champions to try and dupe ewes into thinking that he's a bigger male than he really is.
A ram just has to know his limitations.
So those that have lost the battles or been intimidated, not big enough, not old enough, or even mature or experienced enough, may well be forced out of the herd to try their luck elsewhere.
The rut is over. While the ewes gestate, the rams have a chance to repair their relationships. No hard feelings until the next time they put their heads together. Katmai National Park, Alaska. Brooks Falls on the Katmai River. It's an all-you-can-eat fish buffet. These patrons can scarf as much as 88 pounds of salmon a day. It's August, but the brown bears are already preparing for winter.
It is vitally important that a bear has enough food to build up its stores, build up its fat, so that come winter, when food just disappears, it can hibernate and make it through that hibernation.
Catching dinner is easy. Holding on to the catch is another matter entirely.
Conflict turns up when you have bears desperately trying to pack on the pounds before winter. It isn't just, oh, another salmon. That meal that two bears fight over, it might be the difference between life and death. Having the chance to get that meal, and with a harsh winter coming that could easily kill them off if they haven't piled on those pounds, it is worth a death match to get your genetic future sorted.
Speaking of genetics, the brown bear and its cousin, the grizzly, share a distinguishing anatomical feature. That hump is a giant muscle pack, a complex of core brawn that allows the bear to propel itself into action. It's the source of all its power.
A brown bear is at least 5 to 8 times stronger than a human.
And he needs all that strength. A deer carcass can weigh more than 220 pounds. Then, his 4-inch claws can shred prey into bare bite-sized chunks.
A single claw can be the same length as a man's finger. So it's an incredible Swiss Army knife attached to your hands.
You might think with 10 knives at his disposal, a big bear could get anything he wants, but other big bears keep him in check.
They want to avoid conflict. They're going to use their nose to smell who's the bigger, better fighter.
The brown bear's nose puts a bloodhound to shame. It's 7 times more sensitive. He can remember the scent of every bear he's met.
So if they can smell another bear and they know because they've met them before or they've sparred with them before that, oh, hang on, that's Dave, he's a big lad, I want to avoid him.
That's why bears are constantly marking their presence in the woods. That, and they also have some serious flea issues.
Not only is it a fantastic back scratch, it's like a notice board. It's saying who was here and when.
They will make sure that their scent through urine or feces is present along the entire perimeter of their territory.
And these are marker posts to say, oi, keep out, sunshine, I own this place.
But when those markers are ignored, the fur starts to fly.
When two bears fight, it is just an absolute maelstrom. There is no finesse about it.
They're standing on their hind legs, batting at each other, holding on to each other, and shaking each other around.
They will use their paws, and these are paws that are strong enough to smash the skull on a mountain lion. They are bruisers. They're looking to get round the face, round the neck, and just cause the other bear to submit as quickly as possible.
Domination and submission. The story plays out again and again. One guy eats another guy's lunch, while another guy gets his backside shredded.
More often, when one is injured enough, it will decide to back away and probably never try that male again.
The battered bear moves upriver. He's found a quieter spot to feed. Lucky for him, the salmon are still biting. A spring morning in Montana. For these male sharp-tailed grouse, it's time to shake some tail feather. This tiny plot of prairie is their battlefield and their dance floor, what zoologists call a lek, and punks call a mosh pit.
The males are amazing because they have a lekking system. So they will have an ancestral court they use year after year each spring. And that's basically a dance floor. It's for showing off.
The lek is a mating area, but before they can mate, they must dance.
The mating system of the sharp-tailed grouse is known as dominant polygamy,
Which is a fancy way of saying the cock with the best moves gets the most hens. Let the dance-off begin.
The males are the dandy show-offs. They're willing to back up their showing off and their dancing with fighting if it comes down to it.
The dance is just a prelude, a chance to intimidate the weak-hearted. And the hens are watching.
They're checking out the males. The most dominant birds will be in the center. They'll be the ones that are fighting. They'll be the ones with the best plumage, the loudest calls, the most impressive drumming with their feet, the tail held in the most erect fashion.
The cocks have more than plumage in their arsenal. Those purple air sacs are wind for the calls that can win a mate.
This is a bird with an immense number of vocalizations. They've got these huge, big purple sacs creating this call, attracting, enticing the females in, keeping their male competitors at bay. And that creates this beautiful, resonant call that echoes over the grasslands.
And it makes a lot of noise by stomping, by calling at the same time, and also it's got its tail that it rattles very quickly.
It's all about rattling the nerves of rivals. Okay, you can do that, but can you do this?
They do this amazing tap dance routine that's like a drumming across the grassland. And when you combine all these techniques with their wings out to make them look bigger and more intimidating, particularly when they're fighting with their fellow neighboring males, they're really impressive to the females.
They may seem like glorified chickens. Biologically, they are. But for their bird-brained audience, the effect is mesmerizing. The females draw closer. The frenzy increases. Some males will start to dance in sync, like a boy band.
It's a choreographed, stylized violence. But for them, it's the key part of the breeding season. It's their whole reason for being. It's the most important time of the year.
The females are judging the male on its finery, on its plumage. It's judging the male on its vocalizations and the dance that it does. Because if it can do all those things well, then it is a male that's worth mating with.
But once the females start to display their availability, the drama really heats up. Because there comes a point where dancing is not enough.
In a lek situation, it's 75 to 80% of all the breeding is carried out by just a few of the males.
Right at the height, when the females are watching, when the males are at their most animated, that's when you're likely to see the alpha males clashing.
The stakes are as high as the prairie day is long. The rivals take turns giving each other the stink eye. The youngsters watch in awe. This lek ain't big enough for the two of them.
This is one bird where the love is definitely not shared around. But if you get injured or blooded or have feathers ripped out, that means you may well have no matings that year. And they'll be trying to bite, mocking, rearing towards each other, trying to peck each other, trying to pull feathers out, trying to draw blood.
A well-timed lunge to the throat decides the conflict. You don't have to be the sharpest-tailed grouse to know when you're beat. This grouse just got his tail handed to him.
If a male loses a battle, it's not a good thing because the females are watching and it shows that he's not dominant.
It's losing a face in front of the female, which is the biggest wound that the males can inflict. They can cause injury, but if they can beat their neighbor down, that's the big victory right there.
The champion can now sit back and await his adoring fans.
They'll fly into the lek or walk into the lek and be quite coquettish. They might show their tail feathers, and eventually they will choose this position, a submissive crouch, and the male will mate with her.
After mating, females take a moment to collect themselves and adjust their feathers before retiring to brood. But the boys in the band will meet again much sooner because they need to train some newbies for next year. Youngsters are always welcome to try their luck on the lek. Just be prepared to lose some tail feathers. The great wide open of Nevada. They are icons of the pioneer spirit. The untamable, irrepressible Mustang.
Females have a single stallion who they've mated with that season, and until he loses possession of that band, they're a solid family until the next male comes through.
The stallion wants to keep his band of mares together for another season.
Males will want to protect them from other males from different units that might want to come in and mate with them.
And his selfish genes stir up envy. His rivals are always on the prowl for a fertile mare. And to find her, they'll stick their noses into everybody's business. And for this stark, handsome stallion, his mare's business is his business. No sniffs for you.
Pile of feces contains so much important personal identifying information.
There would be a lot of pheromonal cues in a dung pile that could certainly set off a fight between male horses.
Two males who are really interested in a female who's either in heat or soon to be coming into heat.
They can tell she is sexually receptive.
When a rival wants to horse around with the resident stallion's mares, alpha genes are triggered.
When a bachelor male comes up and challenges a resident or challenges a dominant male, what he wants is access to those reproductive females because he wants the opportunity to be the stallion.
The hoof pointing signals a period of equine assessment.
There's a big lead up to any potential outbreak of violence between horses. There's a lot of male sizing up, coming close to one another, smelling each other, potentially giving a shove. Males are always looking for cues, and they're always looking for small ways they can intimidate others.
The Mustangs flaunt their gorgeous manes. They smile their horsey smiles. It's all about making the other guy question whether he has what it takes.
They'll circle one another, demonstrating their strength, demonstrating their power, demonstrating their vigor to one another.
And don't forget the trash talk. There's a lot of meaning in those whinnies.
You can hear the vocalizations as these fights are taking place. It's all part of ramping up the drama. There is an intense altercation going on.
So that's really indicating, strong assertiveness. Like, I am not okay with your behavior right now. I'm letting you know. I'm very vexed.
This is what you might call naysaying.
Pushing and jostling and comparing strength, nipping at one another.
Biting is something you may not think about, but horses have extremely strong jaws and a full set of very large, substantial teeth. They can do a lot of damage.
The jaw strength of a horse is more than double that of a pit bull terrier. It doesn't just hurt, it can tear flesh. And watch out when those back hoofs start flying. This is when a fella could get a broken jaw.
They'll buck back and kick, and it's strong. It can knock you out. They'll kick one another in the chest, or kick one another on the side, causing injury.
The stallions are putting on quite a show, but their biology acts as a brake. All-out fighting is costly. It uses up a lot of energy, and the risk of injury is high.
So a worst-case scenario in a horse fight is getting a serious leg injury, either because from a kick or from a falling poorly in the middle of a tussle. A leg break to a horse is akin to a death sentence. They live on their feet. They have to be able to outrun predators.
One flying kick is enough to convince this aging bronco to quit the corral. The rival has unhorsed the resident alpha, but he is not home free. He still needs the acceptance of the resident mares. And the mares often have the final say.
A band of horses has traditionally been assumed to be under the control of the stallion or the male who has a harem of females, although it seems as though these groupings are far more democratic than previously thought.
The relationships between the mares is the glue that holds the band together.
They're determining where they're going to graze. They're determining places that they go when they move on to the next spot.
In the real Wild West, the ultimate alpha, the stud, is a myth. He can bully his way around his peers, but when the mares make a decision, even the stallion follows along, or he gets left in the dust. It's a wild life in the USA, where status is more than symbolic, and even the dancing is for keeps.